Russia's foreign minister says the type of poison a former double agent and his daughter were exposed to in the UK last month may have been misidentified. Sergei Lavrov cited the recent findings of an independent Swiss laboratory that analysed samples from the scene. In a recent development, the Swiss lab says it's down to the OPCW to have the final say.
The analysis is more consistent with the use of the poisonous substance BZ. None of these facts, and nothing at all about BZ, was mentioned in the final OPCW report, which was presented to its executive board. We request that the OPCW explain why such information and the conclusion of the Spies laboratory was omitted from the final report.
Well, the BZ nerve agent is an incapacitating toxin developed by the US military back in the 1950s. It's a harmful crystalline powder which may cause confusion, sight problems and disorientation. Well, BZ has never been manufactured in Russia or the Soviet Union. However, the UK was quick to blame Russia for the attack, naming the Novichok nerve agent which was initially developed in the Soviet Union. The International Chemical Weapons Watchdog, the OPCW, confirmed those findings too. Well, our correspondent Murad Gaziev takes a closer look now at the allegations being levelled at Russia.
There was no trial, no discussion, no evidence, no proof. There was only judgment and punishment.
It is highly likely that Russia was responsible. We do hold Russia culpable for the attempted murder.
The pundits needed even less. The name Novichok sounds Russian, means Russia did it.
They've established that it is Novichok, and that is, by definition of the translation of the name, which means newcomer, part of a program in the Soviet Union in the late 70s and 80s.
The point's made. There are a lot of questions to ask of this whole mess. But over the last few weeks, we've interviewed dozens of chemists, experts, and military specialists. And here are their biggest gripes. The Novichok nerve agents are no secret. They haven't been so in decades. Here they are, excerpts from the books and studies available to the public. Neither the formula nor the chemicals are any more Russian than air itself. For years now, researchers have published studies and theses on the Novichoks, which there are dozens and dozens of, many developed in different countries.
In 2007, a US author published a paper on numerous chemical compounds. We were interested because of their toxicity. The author united them under the Novichok system. There are more than 60 compounds here, and they have all been indexed. Since then, these formulas, or some of them, have appeared in various publications constantly. You simply cannot say they are a secret.
There's more to it. If you suspect a potential adversary has made a new discovery, you have to do the same in order to study the new substance and make antidotes.
It's true to say that Russia is not the only country being able to synthesize a few grams of Novichok. In the late 90s, all intelligence services in the West worked on Novichok. So I'm not surprised that in France, in UK, in the United States, they have this kind of information that could explain the speed in which the product was identified.
And there's a whole lot of nerve agents to go around, with more being discovered, undeclared nerve agents.
Anytime a country, and there are many, discovers the properties of a new chemical structure, its toxicity or chemical weapon potential, they must immediately, according to the convention, register it with the OPCW. But no country does so.
And it really isn't as difficult as it may sound.
If it's really a Novichok we are dealing with, it's not a real problem to synthesize that kind of nerve agent. All the necessary components are easily available on the open market. Any specialist in organic chemistry would be able to make it.
Though every expert we talked to said that you need serious expertise and substantial funding to make pure nerve agent.
Of course, you can't make this in any basement. The chemicals are highly toxic and the lab has to be well equipped with ventilation, detoxification equipment. Not every lab can synthesize this, but there are 20 or so labs that can.
The argument that there is no alternative explanation because only Russia has made Novichoks fails. Britain's decision to classify almost every aspect of what happened and the investigation has got the rumour mill running. But there are tidbits that have leaked out. Tidbits that have the scientists scratching their heads.
The interesting thing with Novichoks is that there are so many of them, and they come in so many different forms. They can come in a powder, as a solid, as a crystal, and even as a liquid. But just to give you some reference, if this was a variety of the Novichoks, a single drop is enough to kill 10 people within minutes. If this was inhaled, even more.
If inhaled, symptoms appear and death follows in minutes. If it gets on the skin, symptoms and death can take from minutes to hours.
At first, one might think that the Skripals could only have survived because the dose had to be very small. But the reported symptoms don't match. They're simply missing. If indeed this was a Novichok nerve agent at work, the Skripals were very fortunate. British medics must have realized quickly what was at work here, or else have a miracle cure for unknown nerve agents. There's no other explanation.